for putting this meeting on today and attending. And congratulations and thank you for the decisions that you've just been debating in such an open, in such a mature and such a democratic way. I'm going to go back to London later this afternoon, stronger, more optimistic, as a disabled person fighting against this government because of what you've done today. So thank you for that. Also, and DPAC, if it's nothing, it's not it's a grassroots organisation. Our National Steering Committee is there to do exactly what it says. It's to steer, it's to coordinate. And that's the model that DPAC took in to building the Anti-Bedroom Tax and Benefit Justice Federation. We wouldn't want to be involved in an organisation that wasn't like that. That's why we set that up and argued for it and built it as the way we did back in May this year. And now, on behalf of that organisation and my little voice within that, thank you for again what you've done, because now that organisation is stronger, broader and deeper. And the answer to all of the concerns about it is when we leave this hall and we go back out into our council estates, back into our communities and have our small meetings, building the local groups. That's your checks and balances on the centre. And that's what keeps the movement democratic, open and dynamic. So that's a fantastic thing. I'd just like to say one thing on one of the terms that's been used, and it's an important one, about talking about vulnerability. It's not a term that we use in DPAC to refer to ourselves as disabled people. We are vulnerable when the Tories divide us, when the Tories humiliate us through the ATOS assessments, when they make it a scary thing to be out there on your own, when they individualise us, when they make it feel something of a badge of shame to be a disabled person. When they isolate us and leave us like that, that's when we're vulnerable. They make us vulnerable, we're not. When we're united, we're strong and we're invincible. And again, that's what you're doing for us here today. So that's a very important point. And my final point, and I say this in a sense of absolute solidarity with Joe from Liverpool, but I do disagree on a number of those points. In particular about the ability to sort of do things like unite social landlords with council officers and council elected officials. I mean, there's a lot of problems in that for a whole lot of reasons, but it essentially comes back down to the fact that the problem with it is this is not about finances, this is not about balancing budgets, this is about a Tory government which is using the financial crisis as an excuse to try and push back every single advance that working people have made in this country in the last 60 years. And it's got nothing to do with that. It's a political fight, and it's a fight that we need to take on, and that leads us on to the fight to join the unions in together, and that brings us to September the 29th. And I'll be up here, I'll be back here in Manchester, not just on September the 29th, but evidently I'm coming back on the 28th now as well, and I'm going to be delighted too. But I'm going to be bringing some friends with me from Manchester, from London, here to Manchester. We've got a Unite train, we're going to fill that, we'll be filling coaches. And the last thing I'll say is I know there are people here who want to set up a Disabled People Against Cuts, a local DPAC group. And I just invite you to come and see me at the end of this meeting, where perhaps we'll put ourselves together in a corner or just outside for a 5-minute caucus to talk about that and build that unity as well. Comrades, brothers and sisters, thank you for today's meeting. I'm going back, a proud man today, to London, and I'll take this message to everyone I'm working with there. See you back here in Manchester on the 28th of February.